Bruh, check this out. Sha'Carri Richardson is tweeting her ass off about a perceived double standard in the Olympic Committee about allowing a young white girl to compete after being caught with weed in the system. So, you ready to dive into this, Pat?
I guess.
You should, man. Open your eyes, dog. That damn. You open them bitches. All right. So the first story, like Pat and I, we've already had the pre-conversation, but so Sha'Carri Richardson sees a double standard in allowing Kamila Valieva to compete. So I'll read a little bit, then we get into our opinions and facts and stuff. So U.S. sprinter Sha'Carri Richardson is calling out Olympic and anti-doping officials after Russian skater Kamila Valieva was allowed to compete despite testing positive for a banned drug. Can we get a solid answer on the difference between their situations? Richardson asked on Twitter after mediators ruled that Vaileva should be allowed to skate in the women's individual competition in Beijing. The only difference, and this is Sha'Carri saying this, the only difference I see is I'm a young black lady. It's all in the skin. Richardson won the 100-meter race at the U.S. Olympic trials early last summer, but after it was revealed that she had tested positive for THC, the antitoxin in marijuana, she was denied a chance to compete in the Tokyo Olympics. THC is on the World Doping Agency's list of prohibited substances, but it also is trimetazidine, the drug that was found in Valiva's test sample. The heart drug is believed to be able to boost athletes' endurance and blood efficiency. In other words, it can boost athletic performance while THC does not. Richardson pointed out the difference in her tweets responding to the ruling on Valiva's eligibility at the Winter Olympics. So I just read that right there. Just stop that piece right there. So originally I thought both young ladies got caught with weed in their system.
Mm-hmm.
But it's two different drugs.
Mm-hmm.
And so she does have an argument. She does have a case. I'm not mad at her, but there are subtle differences in this. Why one is competing and the other is competing. You wanna enlighten people on what those subtle differences is? Why the young white girl can compete and why Sha'Carri couldn't compete?
I mean, I don't think it's subtle, and I don't think she has a case either. I get where she's coming from, but that's centered in ignorance. I don't know how else to say it.
So explain.
So two of the big differences is the girl is Russian, and the Russian anti-doping people have not suspended this chick yet. Sha'Carri Richardson is American, and the American anti-doping officials suspended her. Those are two huge differences right there. So,
not the Olympic anti-doping officials, but the American anti-doping officials is what didn't allow Sha'Carri to compete. What you're saying?
Yes, the American anti-doping officials, which has much stricter rules than Russia, said that Sha'Carri had violated. They gave her a 30-day suspension from competition, which she accepted. She could have fought back, but she accepted it. And the fallout was what it was, and we already talked. They could have took her as an alternate for the relays, but they chose not to. Again, that was a decision that the American Olympic Committee made, not that the International Olympic Certifying Body made. And in this situation, another big thing is they collected 2 samples from the Russian chick.
Mm-hmm.
The first sample was found to contain the drug.
Right.
The second sample,
the enhancer.
Right. The second sample, from what I understand, hasn't even been opened yet, which is why it's still an ongoing investigation, which is also why they've said if that second sample is found to be dirty, this girl could be retroactively banned, meaning she's competing and she would lose her medals and all of that shit for nothing. It's you know what I'm saying? Like it's it looked the same when you just look at them,
but it's
but
not.
then when you start digging into the details, it's like, nah, these
Yeah.
ain't the same at all.
Now, once again, I'm not mad at nobody for speaking out and stirring some stuff up. So, because there is, I get it, the surface level unfairness, but when you dig down deep into the details, you can see where the difference lies. The American Olympic body said we can bring you, but we choose not to. And the Russians say, well, shit, we're going to bring you because you're not suspended. Now, the Olympic Committee is saying that if she does wins, she can be stripped of medals and wins if she does win. That's what the Olympic Committee is saying, especially after, like you're saying, the second sample come back. But even with the first sample being found having the drug and the enhancer in her system, if she wins, she could be stripped. So
Right.
the Olympic Committee is saying that, but the Russians are saying, "Come on and compete with us," which is opposite of what the Americans said for Sha'Carri. So the question
Right.
is, so Sha'Carri really should not be questioning the Olympic Committee. She should be questioning the Americans, but at the
And,
same time, not necessarily because you accepted your punishment.
right. And that's where I'm like, she's still, her tweets get her in so much shit that's not helpful for her. That, like, to me, this isn't help, because another big difference is that girl is like 15, 16. She's a minor.
Yeah,
Sha'Carri Richardson was 21. She's a legal adult. So there's also some differences in accountability and responsibility and who's to be blamed for what. But Sha'Carri Richardson, whatever case she had for racism or anything like that, was kind of thrown away when they replaced her with another black woman.
so okay. USA. So these are tweets. USA Today says the decision to allow Kamila Valieva to continue competing at Beijing 2020 despite the failed drug test is a slap in the face to all of those athletes doing it the right way. So and I get it. I get it for just overall Olympics. Just
Right,
overall
right, right,
Olympics with them allowing her to compete. Nobody disagrees with that
right,
because that is a disgrace to the what the Olympics is about overall. But then Sha'Carri retweeted that saying, "Can we get a solid answer on the difference of her situation and mine?" Like we just explained, USA said you can't compete. Russia told her she can compete.
right,
Now she follows that up with, my mother died and I can't run and was also favored to place top three. The only difference I can see is I'm a young black lady. Well, no, that's not the only difference. And your mother dying had nothing to do with it. And you were favored to place top three, but yeah,
we know
we
you weren't.
right. Yeah, yeah. I knew you weren't. I knew my money was on Shelly and Fraser Price anyway. So
Right. Yeah, my money was on Shelly Ann Fraser Price with
I
Elaine
ain't, I
Thompson
didn't I
coming
didn't
in
know who
second.
Elaine Thompson was, but I knew who Shelly was. Like we talked about. Nobody's coming down on her for how she chose to cope with it. Nobody's mad at her for her choice. Lack of resources, lack of information, lack of knowledge, all those things there. But when you if you ask questions like that and then people do their homework and give you the answer, you can't be mad at the answer. The answer is the difference is it's not skin color, it's your Olympic team said you can't
Yes,
compete. Your
it's
Olympic team said we're
nationality.
not bringing you. That's what, because like you say, they could have brought her for the relay team, but they chose not to.
Yeah, it's not skin color, it's nationality. Like, this is not something you can throw up race and say this is the cause. And I am one of them people that believe that race has a role to play in just about everything,
Yeah,
but that's just about everything. This is one of those few circumstances where race is not a primary
it's
factor.
it's more about personal
It's
accountability on her part and personal accountability on the U.S. Olympic team part.
right. The US Olympic team said no. And then they replaced you. They didn't replace you with a white woman. They
They
replaced you
replaced it
with a
with black
black
chick.
woman.
Yeah, yeah.
So as black people, like, they replaced her with black people. I think one of the black girls graduated from a HBCU.
And black people was mad about that.
like I said, you need to stop tweeting. Every
She
time
does.
she tweets, she do it. She dig a hole.
Yeah. Well, they told her they've been said that about her a while ago. But once again, let's just be real though. People aren't looking at this from the details and from the facts. People are going to look at this from an outside objective, well, and a outside biased look. And most people haven't read the articles, only read headlines, haven't really got deep down into the information, so they don't know the intricacies of this. So they're going to say, most people are going to pile on the Olympics and say, yeah, the Olympics is racist. The Olympics is this. The Olympics is that. No, it ain't the Olympics. It's the American Olympic team. That's who you need to be looking at, the American
Yeah,
Olympic team. But at the same time, Sha'Carri knew the rules.
she
So
did.
one thing we as black people got to start doing is that making it seem like it's okay for us to break the rules because everybody else break the rules. Now, I get it. You want everybody to be held to equal standard, but that doesn't mean we should fuck up and then get mad about us being punished for fucking up and other people not getting the same punishment for us fucking up when we already know where we live in the world that we live in.
Well, and see, the thing with me is, and I could be wrong. I don't know Sha'Carri Richardson. I never met her, never talked to her a day in my life or hers. But to me, the tweet and whatever didn't come out like she was crying for equal accountability. Like this girl shouldn't be allowed to compete. It was
Right.
more like, why wasn't I able to compete? And that's how I interpreted it. It's like it still came across to me, and like I said, I could be misreading it, but it came across to me as if it was another attempt to kind of shirk responsibility when that was arguably one of the best things you did publicly for yourself was accept responsibility.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because almost everything else that was done publicly was a shit show. Even when you got blazed at the Prefontaine Classics, which was
Yeah.
less than a month after the Olympics, which is how
E-
we know you wasn't gonna.
Everything about her since the Olympics came into the picture has been downhill.
Yes,
But people got to understand perspective though, and you got to understand detail and all that go into it. Don't just be going straight off emotion. And yeah, they need to let Sha'Carri. You got to talk to the Olympic team, but at the same time, Sha'Carri, you can't put yourself in this position to be suspended.
no, don't be smoking your weed, and I
Now,
mean
right,
it's
once
not during
again,
competition.
right, but once again, you know the rules. Now, nobody jumping on you. Once again, like we said a long time ago, we will not punish her, look down on her, say whatever because of how she coped with the sister with losing her mother. I've never lost my mother. I can't tell nobody how to cope with losing their mother. And I understand, even though you probably would think she would have more resources, but I don't think so. I don't think she had the resources. She's still coming out of her world. But at the same time, you got to take responsibility for what you did, and you got to know that your team, your squad, the U.S. the one told you that you couldn't compete,
Yeah,
not the
she don't.
Olympics.